This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Eugenics and Other Evils by G. K. Chesterton. Part 1. The False Theory. Chapter 4. The Lunatic and the Law. The modern evil, we have said, greatly turns on this, that people do not see that the exception proves the rule. Thus it may or may not be right to kill a murderer, but it can only conceivably be right to kill a murderer because it is wrong to kill a man. If the hangman, having got his hand in, proceeded to hang friends and relatives to his taste and fancy, he would intellectually unhang the first man, though the first man might not think so. Or thus again, if you say an insane man is irresponsible, you imply that a sane man is responsible. He is responsible for the insane man, and the attempt of the Eugenists and other fatalists to treat all men as irresponsible is the largest and flattest folly in philosophy. The Eugenist has to treat everybody, including himself, as an exception to a rule that isn't there. The Eugenists, as a first move, have extended the frontiers of the lunatic asylum. Let us take this as our definite starting point, and ask ourselves what lunacy is and what its fundamental relation to human society. Now that raw juvenile scepticism that clogs all thought with catchwords may often be heard to remark that the mad are only the minority, the sane only the majority. There is a neat exactitude about such people's nonsense. They seem to miss the point by magic. The mad are not a minority because they are not a corporate body, and that is what their madness means. The sane are not a majority, they are mankind, and mankind, as its name would seem to imply, is a kind, not a degree. In so far as the lunatic differs, he differs from all minorities and majorities in kind. The madman who thinks he is a knife cannot go into partnership with the other who thinks he is a fork. There is no trysting place outside reason. There is no inn on those wild roads that are beyond the world. The madman is not he that defies the world. The saint, the criminal, the martyr, the cynic, the nihilist may all defy the world quite sanely. And even if such fanatics would destroy the world owes them a strictly fair trial according to proof and public law. But the madman is not the man who defies the world. He is the man who denies it. Suppose we are all standing around a field and looking at a tree in the middle of it. It is perfectly true that we all see it, as the decadents say, in infinitely different aspects. That is not the point. The point is that we all say it is a tree. Suppose, if you will, that we are all poets, which seems improbable, so that each of us could turn his aspect into a vivid image distinct from a tree. Suppose one says it looks like a green cloud, and another like a green fountain, and a third like a green dragon, and a fourth like a green cheese. The fact remains that they all say it looks like these things. It is a tree. Nor are any of the poets in the least mad because of any opinions they may form, however frenzied, about the function or future of the tree. A conservative poet may wish to clip the tree. A revolutionary poet may wish to burn it. An optimist poet may want to make it a Christmas tree and hang candles on it. A pessimist poet may want to hang himself on it. None of these are mad because they are all talking about the same thing. But there is another man who is talking horribly about something else. There is a monstrous exception to mankind. Why he is so we do not know. A new theory says it is heredity. An older theory says it is devils. But in any case the spirit of it is the spirit that denies, the spirit that really denies realities. This is the man who looks at the tree and does not say it looks like a lion, but says that it is a lamp post. I do not mean that all mad delusions are as concrete as this, though some are more concrete. Believing your own body is glass is a more daring denial of reality than believing a tree is a glass lamp at the top of a pole. But all true delusions have in them this unalterable assertion that what is not is. The difference between us and the maniac is not about how things look or how things ought to look, but about what they self evidently are. The lunatic does not say that he ought to be king. Perkins Warbeck might say that. He says he is king. The lunatic does not say he is as wise as Shakespeare. Bernard Shaw might say that. The lunatic says he is Shakespeare. The lunatic does not say he is divine in the same sense as Christ. Mr. R. J. Campbell would say that. The lunatic says he is Christ. In all cases the difference is a difference about what is there, not a difference touching what should be done about it. For this reason, and for this alone, the lunatic is outside public law. This is the abysmal difference between him and the criminal. The criminal admits the facts, and therefore permits us to appeal to the facts. We can so arrange the facts around him that he may really understand that agreement is in his own interest. We can say to him, "Do not steal apples from this tree, or we will hang you on that tree." But if the man really thinks one tree is a lamp post and the other tree a Trafalgar Square fountain, we simply cannot treat with him at all. It is obviously useless to say, "Do not steal apples from this lamp post, or I will hang you on that fountain." If a man denies the facts, there is no answer but to lock him up. He cannot speak our language, not that varying verbal language which often misses fire even with us, but that enormous alphabet of sun and moon and green grass and blue sky, in which alone we meet, and by which alone we can signal to each other. That unique man of genius, George MacDonald, described in one of his weird stories two systems of space coincident, so that where I knew there was a piano standing in a drawing room, you knew there was a rose bush growing in a garden. Something of this sort is in small or great affairs the matter with the madman. He cannot have a vote because he is the citizen of another country. He is a foreigner. Nay, he is an invader and an enemy, for the city he lives in has been superimposed on ours. Now these two things are primarily to be noted in his case. First, that we can only condemn him to a general doom because we only know his general nature. All criminals who do particular things for particular reasons, things and reasons which, however criminal, are always comprehensible, have been more and more tried for such separate actions under separate and suitable laws ever since Europe began to become a civilization, and until the rare and recent reincursions of barbarisms in such things as the indeterminate sentence. Of that I shall speak later. It is enough for this argument to point out the plain facts. It is the plain fact that every savage, every sultan, every outlawed baron, every brigand chief has always used this instrument of the indeterminate sentence, which has been recently offered us as something highly scientific and humane. All these people, in short, being barbarians, have always kept their captives captive until they, the barbarians, chose to think the captives were in a fit frame of mind to come out. It is also the plain fact that all that has been called civilization or progress, justice or liberty, for nearly 3,000 years, has had the general direction of treating even the captives as a free man, in so far as some clear case of some defined crime had to be shown against him. All law has meant allowing the criminal, within some limits or other, to argue with the law, as Job was allowed, or rather challenged, to argue with God. But the criminal is, among civilised men, tried by one law for one crime for a perfectly simple reason, that the motive of the crime, like the meaning of the law, is conceivable to the common intelligence. A man is punished specially as a burglar, and not generally as a bad man, because a man may be a burglar